U.S. foreign policy debates often turn into muscle measuring contest. I won't let him get away with it. I call for economic sanctions. I raise you some drone strikes.
I say we just nuke them.
Whoa, hold on. Is there any room for common sense in foreign policy discussions? The only sane person in the room is in the corner. Yeah, hi, could the U.S. government just mind its own business? For too long, nearly everyone has ignored that smart voice. Many have called that person weak or sissy. But here's the thing, that person is totally right. Let's take the Russia-Ukraine situation. It's pretty complicated. In my opinion, the U.S. government should just pull it out. If history is any indication, U.S. intervention will make the situation even worse. But there are U.S. politicians calling for sanctions against Russia. It goes back to this. Even though it's almost universally agreed upon that sanctions don't work. It doesn't matter to these politicians. They don't care. Somebody did something bad, so they must do something. Anything. Sanctions usually do more harm. For gosh sakes, there's still an embargo on Cuba since 1960. How did that work out? Well, the communist government still in power. It's only hurt regular Cubans and Americans. And then there was the sanctions against Iraq in the 1990s. Studies show that it killed 500,000 innocent Iraqi children and did nothing to get rid of Saddam. Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, however, says it was worth it. Oh, and sanctions against the Soviet Union didn't work either. After the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, in the 1980s, Jimmy Carter imposed economic sanctions on the Soviet Union. He forbade U.S. manufacturers from selling grain to the USSR. That'll show them, right? Нет, nice try, lol. The Soviet Union bought grain elsewhere, U.S. farmers suffered, and the Soviets were still in Afghanistan. Sanctions hurt Americans too. Let's say I sell guitars. The Russian people are big consumers of my product. Now, if the sanctions against Russia go into effect, the U.S. government is cutting me off from my foreign consumers. This is infringing on my freedom. So I lose money, the Russian people lose out on my guitars, and Russia will most likely still be in Ukraine. So much for free market principles and free trade, Republicans. Sanctions against Russia will hurt U.S.-Russia relations, hurt producers and consumers, and do nothing to change anything else. Let's stop making foreign policy decisions based on this and use some of this instead.